WSOX, WSOX HD1, Red Lion, York, Lancaster, Hanover, Harrisburg. A Cumulus Media station. Community Focus is a public... Here's your host, Diane Gray.
Good morning, it's Diane Gray. Time for this morning's edition of Community Focus. Now, if you're interested in giving back to your community and helping your neighbors during a disaster, there is a way for you to do that in York County. You can join the York County Community Emergency Response Team. And this morning on Community Focus, we are going to learn what CERT, the York County Community Emergency Response Team, is about and how you can join. And we're also going to discuss emergency preparedness in general for you, your family, and your neighbors in relation to the potential disasters that we face in the Susquehanna Valley. And with that, let's welcome Ted Czech, our Public Information Officer with the York County Office of Emergency Management. Good morning, Ted.
Morning, Diane. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm so glad you're able to join us on Community Focus because there's a lot of ground to cover, and you are the main man with the info from the York County Office of Emergency Management, not just about this volunteer CERT program, but also because as we head into hurricane season and winter, there are some things we need to know to keep our families safe during any natural disasters. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share this information with us this morning.
Yeah, not a problem. Happy to be here.
Well, let's start with just the most basic of questions. What would you say, Ted, is the mission of the York County Office of Emergency Management?
I would say if you flip the words around, emergency management, we help manage emergencies. We're not first responders, but we play a role in helping to manage emergencies, actually both before they happen, while they happen, and then in the recovery phase when they cease to happen. So we're active in all three of those phases of an emergency, or we like to refer to them as disasters, both man-made and natural disasters.
Now, we're talking with Ted Czech, who is the Public Information Officer with the York County Office of Emergency Management. And one of the big reasons we wanted Ted on the show is because we wanted to talk about this volunteer situation, which is the York County Community Emergency Response Team. Now, Ted, why are volunteers critical to emergency response?
Well, Diane, for a couple of reasons. Most recently, there's been, and I'm sure a lot of people are aware of this, there's some uncertainty with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, with the new administration that's in D.C. So there's uncertainty there. And we also, in emergency management, have a phrase that we often use where we say that emergencies or disasters start and end at the local level. So everything starts local. And you know, it may work itself way up the chain, up to the federal government, but eventually it comes back down to the local level. In addition, it's impossible to respond to emergencies in a county, especially York County, without volunteers. They're an integral part of an emergency, you know, from firefighters to fire police. If people are familiar with fire police, they're not firefighters, they're not police officers, but they're part of a a fire department. And they help direct traffic during disasters. So we can't do much without volunteers. Look at the response in North Carolina, how the community, the volunteer organizers got together and really made a difference there. And we see that very often here in York County as well.
When did the Community Emergency Response Team come about? Was this something that was a national idea first? Do you know?
Yeah, I did some research on that. Actually, it started in Mexico City. In 1985, there was an earthquake, a terrible earthquake that occurred there. Thousands of people died. And so that was the impetus for CERT. And then it seemed to be adopted the next year by the Los Angeles Fire Department for earthquake response, because of the fact that in such a disaster, people are going to be on their own for quite a while. And, you know, I took a CERT class myself a couple of years ago, and there was a phrase that I learned there, which is yo-yo, I believe it was yo-yo 96, meaning you're on your own for 96 hours before first responders can get to you. It's just kind of a rule of thumb that you should prepare to be on your own for several days before first responders can get to you. And if you live by that, then, well, you should be okay.
That's a very interesting concept. We'll have to go over that a little bit later in our program. But as we talk about CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team, when did York County decide to get in on this idea?
It's been around for a number of years, and just to kind of go back over the history a little bit, then in the early 1990s, it kind of went nationwide. And so CERT's been around in York County for a while. Like I said, I took the class a couple of years ago, and it's gone through several iterations, if you will, several pockets where it's been active, and now we're at the point where there is a very active and dedicated group in the northern part of the county, in the Dillsburg area. But that's Dillsburg, and they mainly focus on that part of the county. So what we wanted to do was make it a countywide effort, and that's what we're working towards now that it's under the York County Office of Emergency Management.
Okay, so we're talking with Ted Czech. He's the Public Information Officer for the York County Office of Emergency Management, and we are discussing CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team, and how they're trying to get a network of volunteers to be a part of this emergency response team in York County. So people who are listening to this and saying, this could be interesting, what would volunteers who are part of the Community Emergency Response Team be called on to do during times of disaster?
Yeah, Diane, it's kind of a two-pronged approach, really. So if you live in a neighborhood or any type of community and disaster strikes, CERT members can what we call self-dispatch, meaning they don't have to be told by anyone, above them or 911 or anything like that. They can just dispatch on their own when they sense that there is a need. So, for example, you're living in your neighborhood and there's a flood, and you know that there are several people who would be considered vulnerable. Say there's an elderly couple, and you just you put on your CERT helmet and your CERT backpack, and you make your way over to their house, knock on the door, and say who you are, and say, hey, I'm just calling to check on you, or I'm just here to check on you to see if there's anything that you need, if there's anything that I can assist you with. So that's one example of how CERT works. The other way, the way that we also envision it here at the York County Office of Emergency Management, is that the county can call on them for things like staffing shelters, conducting damage assessments after a disaster, and also for things like public outreach and engagement, and even monitoring and decontamination if there were to be some type of nuclear disaster or some kind of release that occurs. And God forbid that it would, but that's something that that's one aspect of OEM, emergency management, that we think about a lot. That's what we do. We think about all these terrible things, and we plan for them. We train for them.
In the Susquehanna Valley, let's face it, we have 3 Mile Island and Peach Bottom, and like you said, it is your job to not just go with the flow, but to look ahead and see what are the potential risks of virtually everything that is in our region. So thank you for bringing that up as well. And as we talk about CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team, during the downtimes when there's nothing to respond to, would the volunteers have any duties?
Well, there would probably be, I would suspect, some additional training. So there's an initial training that happens, which is, I believe it's a 24-hour. Well, it's not continuous, but over the span of about 5 weeks, it's going to be 24 hours. That's the initial training. But I would suspect that there's going to be some additional training that will happen every now and then, and possibly some meetings here or there. No huge commitment or anything like that, but occasionally. Somebody asked me recently, they said, well, why would somebody want to volunteer for this when there are volunteer problems? There's problems with retaining and with gaining new volunteers in other organizations. And I kind of thought about it, and I said, well, this is a low-key commitment. This is not one where you're constantly in meetings and you're constantly being asked to do this, that. And the other thing, this is a low key commitment. This is something that you do when you can do it. Like I said before, you self-dispatch. So if you can't self-dispatch, then you don't. If you can make a meeting, great. If you can't, that's okay. So it's a low key commitment, and I think, and also you're helping your community, and I think that and
very
being part
rewarding.
of something bigger. Yeah. So there's fulfillment in that.
Now, if a York County resident is interested in volunteering with CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team, are there any requirements that they have to meet?
Well, they have to be a resident of the county.
Mm-hmm.
They have to pass a state police volunteer record check. They have to pass or have passed the CERT basic training. So if you've had it in the past, then we acknowledge that, we recognize that. But if you haven't, then you have to take that course before you are accepted onto the team. And like I said, that's going to be about 5 weeks worth of training for a total of 24 hours. And there are, I believe, 2 FEMA courses that you have to take, and those are independent study courses. Those are not drive to a facility and sit down and take a course or whatever. These are independent study courses that you can do on your own time, on your computer, your laptop, your phone. So those are the basic requirements for CERT.
Are you looking for team leaders and assistant team leaders? What's that search for like?
We are. We've been interviewing people here in the office because we're gearing up for the first training session, which the last I knew was going to happen later this year or possibly extend into 2026. So we're interviewing folks for those positions, and for being a team leader or an assistant team leader, we really want people to have experience with NIMS and also with ICS. Now those are two acronyms. I know I just threw at you there. NIMS is the National Incident Management System. This is under FEMA. And then ICS is the Incident Command System, which is also under FEMA, and that is a framework for responding to disasters where you have all sorts of, to kind of really put it in a nutshell, you have all sorts of positions and all sorts of duties that come with those positions, and they all work together to respond to a disaster. So we're looking for people that have had training in that.
Okay, so if we have York County residents listening who are saying this CERT idea, this community emergency response team, this could be something I'd be interesting. It doesn't sound like something that takes over your life, but I would like to give back to the community. What's the first step they take? Where do they need to go to find out more information to see if this is something that they would like to get involved in?
So we have a Facebook page that we just set up last week, and I'm going to go to it right now on Facebook here. So if you put into your search, if you get onto Facebook and you put in York County, PA, CERT.
And then CERT, yes.
Yep. If you put that in, you should land on our page that we set up. So that's going to have all of the information that is pertinent to CERT. It's also on our website. If you go to the yorkcountypa.gov, and then you can do a search for CERT, you will find an application there.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Hopefully we'll get some people who are interested in being part of such a very unique and interesting way to give back to the community and helping neighbors during what could be a very difficult time and what could be a very rewarding way to do so. Now, since we have you here, Ted, the Public Information Officer for the York County Office of Emergency Management, let's talk about what can happen to us as residents of the Susquehanna Valley when it comes to certain disasters that we could face that could affect our safety. First of all, if there is an imminent disaster, what kind of alerts should we be on the lookout for? Do we need to sign up for these things anymore? Or are they, for the most part, already on our smartphones?
Well, they should already be on your smartphone. So when when your cell phone just goes off really loud noise, it's alerting you to something. That's called a WIA, which is a wireless emergency alert. And we can send those out here at Emergency Management. We can send them out, and also other government agencies can send them out. And so that will alert you to something that is to a disaster that's imminent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most common way. We also can partner with TV and radio and issue alerts that way. And then also on our social media platforms, we're on Facebook, Instagram, X, and also LinkedIn and YouTube. So on our platforms, we keep people up to date on all of those things as well.
Yeah, because I am I liked your York County Office of Emergency Management Facebook page a long time ago, and I do know that you do a good job of keeping us updated as to what's going on as far as storms and what have you, so that we are, alerted to these issues that could affect us. As far as disasters in York County and beyond in the Susquehanna Valley, what would you say are the things that most strike us? Yeah, I would think flooding is probably the major issue in our area.
Flooding is number one. You are correct, Diane.
Okay.
Yeah, the York County Planning Commission, along with our office, Emergency Management, conducted a study. It's a hazard mitigation study, and it was determined that flooding was number one. Winter storms are up there. Tornadoes, believe it or not.
Yeah.
We do get some tornadoes, minor ones that come through. Severe thunderstorms, utility outages. We've been known to have cyber attacks every once in a while. So those are some of the more common ones that occur here in the county. But without a doubt, flooding is number one for sure.
And this year in particular, 2025, seems to have had an inordinate amount of severe flooding issues between York and Lancaster counties especially. So that's got to be keeping you guys on your toes. What happens within the office when such a disaster strike?
Well, we have an emergency operations center here in our offices. So that's a room. It has a huge video wall, and it has a number of seats, and all equipped with laptops or computers and phones. And so in the case of a large scale disaster, that emergency operations center springs to life, and we have all sorts of subject matter experts who will come in and volunteer their time and assist in the various duties that that we need to, the various things that we need to accomplish during a disaster. We have somebody from the sheriff's office, we have somebody from state police typically. There's people representing the Red Cross, agriculture here in York County, a number of people that are manning phone lines, and so and also there's a group that is surveying social media, and then if they find anything that they feel rises to the level of response, they get it to me, and I'll take it from there. And also not just disasters, but within the last few years, we have stood up the EOC during elections, because the primary goal is to make sure that everybody is able to get to vote unencumbered. Mm-hmm. And so if there's something that happens at or near a polling place, we need to jump on that quickly. If there's a crash outside of a polling place and when something needs to be done, obviously there's going to be a response anyway. But then we see if we can help in any way to get that resolved as quickly as possible.
That's very interesting. I didn't really consider that, but yeah, now that you bring that up, I remember reading that about the York County Office of Emergency Management before. As we return to our families preparing for disasters, what do you think is the number one, maybe not number one, but the best information you can share with us about getting our families and households prepared for, say, storms and winter issues?
Well, I would say overall for disasters, it comes down to two things. It comes down to having a plan and getting a kit or building a kit, an emergency kit. So having a plan, getting your family together and saying, what are we going to do? Are we going to, now some people decide they are going to stay in their homes, and other people decide they're going to evacuate. But having a plan, and maybe, your family, everybody's at work or people are at school. So how are we all going to come together? How are we going to assemble? And then what are we going to do from there? So have a plan, and then building a kit. So this is something, some people call it a go bag, but it's an emergency kit that's going to have supplies in it. Remember going back to the CERT saying about yo-yo, you're on your own for a certain amount of time, 96 hours.
Yeah.
So you're going to have basic supplies in that kit. Some people take it even further than that. Some people they're referred to as preppers. I know that sometimes can be used in a derogatory way, but people who prepare, everyone should prepare to some level.
Yes.
And so you want to have basic supplies like water, non-perishable food, a first aid kit, phone chargers, flashlights with extra batteries, clothes, hygiene items. There's really a ton of things that you can put into an emergency kit, but those are just a few of the basics. Some people like to have a bag already in their car, and then they might have an additional bag in their house that they grab.
Mm-hmm.
So like each family member could have a bag in their vehicles, and then you might have another one in the house with other supplies. It's really kind of up to the individual on how you build it.
Now, I have a question. I've never ever had to do this myself, but what should you remember to do should you and your family have to go to a shelter? I'm sure sometimes you may just have to run out the door and go. If you have some time before you do so, what are some things to remember?
You're gonna want to grab your medications if you have any. You're gonna want to take those. There are, how shall I say this? So there's a way in which you can be helped. Like once you're in a shelter, in obtaining those medications, but it's more of a process. So it's best if you are able to have those medications handy and take them with you. That's the best scenario. You also might want to be concerned with your pets. Yeah, well, I have here written down baby/pet supplies. So baby supplies if you have a baby. If you have pets, take supplies for them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times there is a concern, will the shelter accept me and my pet? And as a matter of fact, I was just having a conversation with someone, and there is something available in the state. I'm not sure how many there are, but it's like a mobile pet shelter that is separate from the regular shelter. So that's available, and in some cases, pets are allowed in the shelters with their owners. But it's just something to keep in mind. The Pennsylvania Department of Health Services. Okay. They have a mobile kennel, if you will.
That's fantastic because people really do see their pets as a part of the family, and many times they won't leave a situation if they can't bring their animals with them, which creates a very dangerous situation.
Yes. The other thing is kind of an intangible. I would say prepare yourself mentally for being close to other people, because that's a shelter right there.
Yes, very crowded
I don't want to say you're
conditions.
on top of each other, but you're very close to each other, and so you just kind of need to have that mindset going into it. That you might not have a lot of privacy, and you might not have a lot of room,
but you're going to be safe.
Yes.
Okay, so let's ask. I got one more question here, which is, can you recommend some good online sources to visit to help get a lot of this information in maybe one place? So I like to get an emergency preparedness kit together to find out info on getting yourself ready for a potential disaster for you and your family and neighbors.
Yes, Diane, I have the site for you.
What's that?
It's very simple. It's ready.gov.
Ready?
READY.gov. Ready.gov.
Excellent.
That's going to have everything. It's got information about disasters and emergencies. You can make a plan. You can build a kit. It has stuff that you can look at, PDFs that, of. So we have a lot of flyers and pamphlets that we give out. A lot of those are on this website in PDF format. So it's really a one-stop shop for everything that you're looking for in terms of disasters.
Ready.gov. You heard it from the man himself.
Yes.
Ted Czech, Public Information Officer with York County Office of Emergency Management. And if you were hearing about our York County Community Emergency Response Team, also known as CERT, which is a way for you to volunteer, give back to your community, help your neighbors during a disaster. It doesn't take a lot of time from your life, but it's a real rewarding way to volunteer. You can get more information from Facebook. Just search for the York County PA CERT, CERT. You can also visit yorkcountypa.gov and search for CERT. Again, that's CERT, and find out more about that. And they will be you'll be having training classes coming up in the upcoming fall and winter season.
Yes, that's right, Diane. We have the response already has been tremendous, and but certainly I appreciate talking with you, and hopefully more people will find out about it. And as you said, probably in the late fall and possibly into early 2026. That's what we're kind of shooting for right now. We just have to get everything ready and get everything in order, and then if people stay tuned, we will have information about when the first course or class is going to be held.
Excellent. I want to say thank you so much, Ted, for joining us this morning on Community Focus. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Diane. You too.
The preceding